Hello again, Internet. Good evening and welcome to the third video in our series of me trying to learn how to talk to the camera. And today we're going to be learning some chords. Now, if you've been following this series, in the first episode we learnt which bit is watch on the guitar. So we know what the strings are, where the frets are, what the frets are. And in the second video we learned how to place the fingers to create notes. We learned a little bit about rhythm, and we learned how to play some simple exercises and a little blues riff. In this exercise we're going to get something dangerously close to actual music, and we're going to learn ourselves some chords. Now, first off, what is a chord? Simply put, a chord is a group of notes played together. When we're playing the exercises or the riff, that's single note playing, that's one note at a time. When we're playing a chord, we're playing a group of notes together, and these notes combine to produce a particular mood. And there are as many chords as there are moods to represent. There are happy-go-lucky major chords, there are sad and maudlin minor chords, there are clipped funky chords, smooth jazz chords, and horror movie chords. And there are thousands of these things, but the nice thing on the guitar is they all boil down to 5 simple shapes. And we're going to learn the first of these shapes now. This is the C chord. And we begin with the first finger on the first fret of the B string. Remember, Eddie et dynamite, goodbye. Then we'll take the second finger, place that on the D string, Eddie et dynamite. And the third finger is going to go here on the third fret of the A string, Eddie 8. Then we're going to go from the A string, either with the pick or with your thumb, just strum from the A string down towards the floor like so. Now, your chord very probably didn't sound like that. Your chord very probably sounded like this. Now don't worry, mine did too. It's simply a question of figuring out how to grip the guitar properly. Now, I'm going to turn myself side on so you can see what I'm doing with my thumb. Oh, this is more tricky than I anticipated. Oh yeah. Right. Now, as I move my thumb around the back of the neck, you can see that it does affect the angle at which my fingers come onto the strings. And therefore it affects whether or not I get a clean sound. Now, I can't tell you where to put your thumb, because it's your thumb, and you're almost certainly a different size and shape to me. But I can recommend some things that you definitely should not do. You should not have the thumb pointing like so down towards the headstock. You should not have the thumb pointing like so up towards the body of the guitar. You also should avoid anything like that. Now, you might not be able to see too clearly, but what's happened is I've locked my thumb in place there. And now, although my chord sounds nice and clear, there is a huge amount of stress going through my wrist and through my thumb. So if you want to develop RSI or carpal tunnel syndrome, that is how you go about it. What you want to do is find somewhere where you can rest your thumb. The two extremes of grip are the thumb over the neck grip. This gives you lots of leverage for bends and vibrato, but not much in the way of reach. Whereas the thumb behind the neck grip, straight up, ooh dear, is trickier than I thought, straight up like that, gives me lots and lots of reach and lots of big chords, but is rubbish for bending and vibrato. Now what you're going to want is somewhere in between. So somewhere around here is the right place to place your thumb. In the book you'll notice that then I've got plenty of diagrams to illustrate that as well. So pause me and play around with your thumb until you find something that's comfortable and where your C chord approximates mine. When you're happy, we'll move on and do some strumming. I'll assume you pause me and we'll move on and do some strumming. Right, we're going to learn 3 rhythms. The whole note, which is worth 4 beats, is also called a semi-breve. The half note, also known as a minim, which as you might expect is worth 2 beats, and the crotchet or quarter note, which is worth 1 beat. I'm going to put the drums on and demonstrate each one, and then I want you to pause me and practice it. So we begin whole note or semi-breve. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then half note or minim. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then finally crotchet or quarter note. That's 1 on each beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, pause me, practice it until you've got it. Once you have, we'll move on to the second chord, which is the G. Now what I'm doing here, I'm starting with my first finger on the 2nd fret of the A string, Eddie 8. My second finger is going onto the 3rd fret of the low E string, Eddie, and then my 3rd finger, or little finger, whichever one's easiest for you, is going down onto the 3rd fret of the high E string, Eddie et dynamite, goodbye Eddie. And if I pick through this as an arpeggio, which I should explain actually, an arpeggio is simply a needlessly flashy and extravagant word for playing the notes of a chord one note at a time. But we like our jargon as musicians because it makes us seem cleverer than we actually are. Excuse me, coronavirus. So again, play with your thumb. You're going to get some clicks and stop notes, that's fine, it's not going to come immediately, but just get it as close as you can and then we'll try some strumming again. So drums again, 3 rhythms. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to go to whole notes, half notes rather. 2, 3, 4, 2, and then quarter notes. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause me. Get your drum machine out or your metronome app and practice that until you're happy with it. When you are, let's try putting these chords together. What we're going to do now is move from the G to the C. And as you can hear, we're playing arpeggios, so 1 note at a time. And I'm doing this in free time. So that means I'm not playing to a beat. And I'm doing this so that I can focus all my mental energy on getting my fingers to the right place. So pause me, practice it, and when you're confident that you can change, then we'll move on to the next part. Now in this part, we're going to play a bar of G to a bar of C. We're going to practice changing between the chords. Now when I talk about bars, what I mean is a group of beats. And most of the time, probably about 95% of the time, there are 4 beats to the bar when you're in what's called 4/4 or common time. Now don't worry too much about this because 99% of the stuff you will have heard, well unless you're a Dream Theatre fan, will have been in 4/4 time. So 4/4 is going to feel natural. Even if you forget to count, you're probably going to play it right more often than not. I'm going to start by filling my bar with 1 whole note. So that's actually, if you're getting confused at this point, don't worry, I'll demonstrate it. It's a lot easier than it sounds. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. C, 2, 3, 4. G, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Pause me. Practice that until you're happy with it. If you can't quite do it at the same tempo I was, which is 60 beats per minute for reference, then just drop the tempo down until you find where's comfortable for you. And then you can gradually increase the speed from there. But at no point should you be sacrificing accuracy and clarity of the chord in chase of speed. Next thing that we'll do then, I'm going to keep the tempo the same, but I'm going to fill my bar with 2 half notes. So that's going to sound like this. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, So pause me and practice that until you're happy with it. And then for the final challenge, we're going to be filling our bar with 4 crotchets. So that's going to sound like this. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that wraps things up for today. That's our goal for this episode. Once you've got the handle on these, we'll move on, learn a 3rd chord, and we'll learn some more songs. Now in terms of practice, by this point you probably don't need to spend 5 minutes going up and down your fingering exercises. You can probably blitz through them in about a minute. So you spend the extra few minutes on the chords, play them first as arpeggios, making sure that they're clean and that you're not practicing any bad habits. And then at a tempo that's comfortable for you, no faster than you can play perfectly. Do the chord change exercises do the 3 rhythms on each chord, so you've got the whole note, half note, and then quarter note. And this is probably going to take you 7 to 14 days depending on how often you're able to practice. And when you've got this, like I say, we'll move on, we'll get a 3rd chord, we'll start playing some songs. Until then, I shall bid you adieu, Internet. I hope you've enjoyed this. Like, subscribe, all the usual stuff, and I'll see you again soon.